Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Zooming in on the concept of codependency and the imbalance in narcissistic relationships or those with narcissistic individuals. A lot of times, people enter into a relationship with these types of people because they're originally exciting, enticing, alluring, their charm, the titillating experiences, really tend to send people head over heels, and they feel like they've met the man or woman of their dreams. And, this is the answer to their prayers. So it's just like the old Nestea Plunge. I mean, they dive in with all senses, with all their might, and, they just don't look back. But what people don't realize when you're going through that initial phase or that initial, meeting with them is that you're being basically addicted. You're creating a cycle of addiction with this person. Unbeknownst to people, who are learning about life and relationships, that if you feel this sudden sort of, yes, there's attraction to people and love at first sight, and there's a lot of wonderful relationships that are like that. But if you find that you are attracted to somebody who, sweeps you off your feet, who things are, it's wild, wild and crazy, too hot and heavy, too soon, basically the relationship could be based, with a narcissist type person who is playing you. And it's more than just being played. I mean, they're going to suck you in, they're going to use you, and they're going to exploit you. I mean, it can get to really devastating consequences with these types of people. So I want you to identify, kind of looking back at the patterns so you're able to see through a metacognitive standpoint, or able to kind of like review things in your mind. And I always feel, love more, judge less. So, look back not in, agony and resentment or regret to yourself. It's just like, okay, lesson learned. And I definitely describe using those lessons learned as part of the recovery tool that we discuss here. But I want to focus in on the initial phases and kind of like articulate it a little bit so you understand how the narcissist works. The narcissist is basically well aware of their talents, their allure, their charm. It's a self-assigned sort of self-absorption. And they feel that they're separate from the crowd. They're above everybody because of their talents, their looks, their money, the prestige of their family, their family inheritance. Maybe they're well endowed. We're talking physically, men and women alike. And so, they feel like, this is my, my power. And they essentially go on a power trip. And, and the person who they're targeting is essentially being picked up for the ride. And the issue is not only are the people being played as like in just having a good time, there's something wrong with having a good time, etc. I'm not condoning that. Essentially, though, what happens, though, is when the narcissist is using manipulation tactics, exploitation tactics to control, manipulate, and pathologically lie to people so that they're strung along, in a diluted manner. And essentially, it starts to bring out the worst of that person. It's bringing out the jealous side, the envious side, the paranoid side, the suspicious side, where, the whole relationship becomes tainted with this sort of, jealousy. I'm going to conquer you over. I'm going to win you over and show you how good I am. So it becomes this real push and pull sort of dynamic, which a lot of relationships do take that in the beginning, where you're trying to impress, etc. So I'm really talking about when we get into an extreme and pathological level where lies really start to add up. There's other relationships going on where the person is not told about. The person is living with other people that they're unbeknownst to them. They have different children that they're not aware of. They have, a whole history which they're hiding from them. And so this can become a real issue. And so if you find yourself kind of allured into this sort of let's just call it a hook and bait, or sort of situation where you are head over the heels and charmed way too quickly, realize if that was an issue that went on with you, and that you just kind of felt you fell along and maybe didn't pay attention to some instinctual ideas like, I'm not ready for this, but I'm going to push myself anyway. So, really learn to listen to that, instinct that would have, could have sort of voice that, that metacognition, the one that can kind of observe things and kind of, keep you in check or keep you in line. Because sometimes not heeding those little voices are really the ones that could have saved us from really getting in too deep with a sort of toxic and hurtful person. And be careful so that it doesn't take months and years off of your dating or your relationship or your marriage, when you could be taking care of yourself and enjoying life more carefree. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.